Kevin King is back on the podcast, and in addition to some cool seller hacks that he always has for us, he's going to talk about a whole variety of topics like how he used to be a collectible card manufacturer and how he's lost 70 pounds in the last couple of years without even dieting. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Are you a 6, 7, or 8-figure seller and want to network in a private mastermind group with other experienced sellers? Or maybe you want to take advantage of monthly advanced training sessions with Kevin King, an expert guest. Do you want to come to our quarterly in-person all-day trainings at Helium 10 headquarters? Or do you want the widest access to the Helium 10 set of tools? For all of these things, the Elite program might be for you. For more information on Helium 10 Elite, go to h10.me/elite. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And we've got the most serious sellers of them all, Kevin King, back on the show. Kevin, how's it going?
It's going. I don't know if I'm serious though. I'm more of I'm a seller, but
Yes.
Some people might
You're
say,
serious as like
they read
like,
my
man,
newsletter and
that's
say, what
some
is
serious
they
strategy.
be like, how serious is this guy?
Yeah. The newsletter, we're going to talk about that. You know, there's definitely been some things that people are saying that this can't be serious, but we'll get into that a little bit. Depends on it's all the point
Just
of
wait
view.
till what you see what's coming.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. I want to talk right off the bat though, before I forget. You know, I don't think we've talked about this on the podcast before, or maybe you've alluded to it. I've heard you talk about it, but I've never actually dug deep. Like right now, hold on, let me just pull something from my back wall here. I just hid it behind. I was sorting some baseball cards. I'm about to go to Japan, and I'm actually flying to Japan on my own time, personal time off, and I'm setting up at a card show over there because my dad's had a business there. But I've heard you mention before that you've dabbled in the old days in the like sports cards or comics, or what was it exactly in that industry? Were you?
Yeah. So as a child back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, I collected the basketball cards back when I think it was Topps. They were big. They were like 4x6 size or something like that. They were huge, and I collect. I don't know. So I don't know when I started, second, third grade, something like that. And I collected those. Collected baseball cards, collected football cards. And I was big into them. And then I just I grew out of it, I guess, maybe, I don't know, sophomore year of high school or something. Just that was little kid stuff. Threw everything in a box, or actually put everything in I think I was going to throw it away. My mom's like, no, don't throw all that stuff away. So she threw it into a box. My mom's a hoarder anyway, but she threw it into a box. And then my senior year of high school, like 7 years of college, like 7 years later, I was like, damn, I need some money, man. I need a little extra cash. And I was like, what? How can I make some extra cash? And I was like, wait a second. My mom, I think baseball cards now, people are actually starting to pay real money for these things. I might actually have, some crazy rookie card for Roger Clemens or something. I don't know. I called her up. You still got that box of stuff I was going to throw away? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, I'm coming up to see you, for Mother's Day or something. I'm going to grab it from you. So I grabbed it and I went on and I sold a bunch of those. I had some rare stuff in there, made thousands of dollars, just taking them into a hobby shop, a comic book store or whatever, and trading them in, and got some extra beer money and cash that I needed when I was, not doing so well when I was 21, 22. And so that evolved though into time. And when was this? Like 92, 93. So about 3 years after college, I was doing stuff. Mark and I, Mark from $1 Billion Sellers, we were doing, I'd started a magazine that dealt with strip clubs, actually. And it wasn't, there's no nudity or anything. This is the business side of it. It was the business side of it. And in doing that, for some reason, baseball cards have become hot to put strippers on. So it was everything from, the Cabaret Royale in Dallas to the Dollhouse in Orlando to Playboy magazine was doing it, Penthouse, anybody, bikini, Hawaiian Tropic bikini girls were doing it. It became a thing to put pretty girls on baseball cards, and these were being sold through traditional comic stores. This wasn't like in the adult shops and like on the other side of the internet. These were like Diamond Comics was a big distributor back then, and Capital City Comics, two huge distributors that distributed all the comic book stores. They all had big booths at Comic-Con in San Diego. they would put these things out, and you were putting them in packs. It became a huge freaking business. We're selling cases of these, and that's one of my first.
So you were the one who made them, or you were
I was
you were
one
buying.
of the, I was both.
Oh, wow.
I was one of the I was making them originally. We had deals because I knew some of these club owners, so they're like, yeah, go ahead and do ours. That's good promotion for us, and we'll do it. So I was doing them. I go to them. We would either shoot it or they give us stuff that we would actually. I would design it.
What do the back of the cards have? In baseball cards,
it would have their stats. It would have Susie Smith, stage name Candy Drop or whatever. 5'6", 34, 24, 34. Originally from San Diego, likes men with short hair or whatever. It would be something like that. And I was like, I need a better way to actually sell these. So a lot of people, it goes back to what we do today. They're putting insert cards, register your warranty or join our VIP club or something as one of the 11th card in a pack of 10. And they were sending it into the companies through physical mail. There's no internet back then. And these companies were not doing anything. They're like the business cards in a fishbowl at the gym. They're just accumulating. So I called up all these companies, said, "What are you doing with your inserts?" And they're just sitting there. I said, "Send them to me. I'll get them all typed in." I hired some company in Jamaica that would type these in for 4 cents a piece or some crazy low number. Ended up building a mailing list of 13,000 people off of this that had filled out for 100 different companies that were doing this. And then as part of the deal, I said, well, I want to be able to I'll send you the list. I knew these guys wouldn't do anything with it, most of them. And I want to be able to have the right to mail it. And I'm going to buy your cards from you wholesale. And I'm going to create a catalog, a glossy color catalog that would send in the mail and send these out and sell mine and yours. That became a huge freaking business. That blew up. And that we were able to ride that wave for quite some time. And we were doing all kinds of really cool, sometime I'll have to show you. If I would have known you were going to talk about this, I could have showed you some here. But we did 24 karat gold signatures, in ink with raised 24 karat gold. We did, and put them in those crystal cases with screws on all sides. I mean, this was serious stuff. I mean, people.
That was ahead of the time, because now that's what the industry has moved to, is these, one of ones, and hey, this is there's only 10 that have this signature, and now there's these companies that have them where they actually come out every single one, national treasures and stuff, where every single card in the set, it comes in this case, and it's all encapsulated in these plastic or these hard holders, and you're doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's 15
years before
we were doing stuff with puzzles. So at the back of the card, we might do a subset of 9. So maybe the set's 100, but 9 of them on the back is a puzzle piece. So you had to collect all 9, flip the cards over, and put them in the right order to get another picture as a puzzle piece, like a tic-tac-toe board. But you put them on the right order, it makes another picture. We're doing all kind but because of the nature of the products, I was limited in my marketing. So it's where I cut my teeth, because I had to get super creative and super innovative on marketing, because you weren't allowed to, if there was there wasn't Facebook back then, but if there was, they would not allow you to advertise it. So it caused us to be very creative in the way we did marketing. We did a huge event. You're talking about going to Japan at the Bellagio Hotel. Not Bellagio, that's Vegas, but the Bellagio Hotel in West Hollywood on the Sunset Strip over there by the Viper Room. It may be some different name now, but it's a fancy hotel. In 1997, we brought in a bunch of the models, put out a thing and said, it's $500 to come. And we had all these guys come, 300 guys, 400 guys come to stand in line and get autographs from the girls on their cards, on 8x10s. And we did a party afterwards. It was a different world.
Interesting. Well, hey guys, you heard it first.
That's the first time I ever talked about that.
Anyway. Okay, good. I just heard briefly you're into collectible cards, and I was like, what, that's kind of up my alley. Let me ask him about that. So you heard it first here. Now guys,
we had binders, with the sleeves, and you had special binders you would collect, and it was full on.
Wow, interesting stuff. So guys, we're doing this podcast a little bit differently. I'm doing everything backwards. Kevin is known for his strategies and Amazon, seller hacks and stuff like that. We'll definitely get to that. But instead of doing it at the beginning, we're going to do that towards the end. If you guys have been listening to this podcast for a while, I've actually, usually at the end of podcasts, start asking people about their health regimen and diets and exercise and things like that, because 2023 is my year of health, where I'm talking to guests, but we're gonna flip the script a little bit. Stay to the end for the Amazon strategy. Now, Kevin, you yourself, wait, can you look to your left really quick? Look to the side. Kevin, where'd you go? Kevin, where? Oh, you disappeared. You're so skinny now. You just disappeared when you turned to the side there. How much weight have you lost this year?
I don't know what the number is this year, but in the last couple of years, about 70 some odd pounds. I still got a ways to go. But probably about another 50 or 60 and I'll be happy. But that'll probably take me
that's impressive.
Take me a few more years.
Once you I've noticed, once you hit 40, it's like hard to lose weight. So you hit a number like that, that's pretty impressive. So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, what are you doing? You're not, starving yourself. You told me that before. Hey, it's not about like starving yourself or necessarily counting calories or working out 7 hours a day, or anything like that. But how have you been able to steadily get to that, where you're at now? I've
had an issue with my weight all my life. I've been up and down all my life, and sometimes it's gotten a lot worse than what it is now. Right now I'm about 260. I've been as high as like 360 in the past. In high school, I was right around 200. Most of my weight gain started when I left the house to go to college. I started drinking beer, eating pizza, and just kind of put it on, and didn't really care too much. But then as you age, I've been lucky, knock on wood, that I haven't had a lot of issues, other than type 2 diabetes, but no high blood pressure, no high cholesterol, none of that kind of stuff that you would expect. I've been in pretty good shape, even though been a bigger guy comparatively. But it got to a point where it's actually my ex-wife. She always used to say, "If you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of me?" Which was a good little slogan, and it's true. And so that kind of motivated me a little bit to kind of. And so I tried every diet in the book. Everything from carnivore diet to Atkins diet to Weight Watchers to.
Did Manny get you on that carnivore?
At one point, yeah. Thing? They're all stupid.
I know he's big on that.
Every one of those diets is stupid. I'm sorry if someone out there is listening and thinks they're great. They're stupid. Every single one. Do they work? Yes, they work short term. But how many times have you done the carnivore and you're right back to where you started? The key, and I kind of learned this from my dad in a way, because he lost a lot of weight and kept it off for like 50 years. He's skinny. I mean, he's like 130 pounds or something. But it's mindset. It's psychology. Eating is psychology. It's the people that you look at, all the people that go and they work out. They go and they work out and work their ass off. And what do they do after that? They go get a Starbucks. They just undo the entire workout they just did by getting a Starbucks with all the cream and all the whatever in it. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't know all the terminology, but and they just completely undo it. But they feel good about themselves. I worked out, and I had supposedly a good coffee. You got to be conscious of what's in your mouth. So my ex-wife had found this woman. She's from Venezuela originally. She was listening to this podcast in Spanish, and she was a guest. And she's talking about something called intuitive eating. You can Google it, intuitive eating. And she was talking about how this works. And so my wife at the time was like, I want to do this. And so she called her up and started doing this woman lives in Miami, doing long distance consultations. And then she said, "Kevin, I think you'll really like her. She's really, really good. You should try it." So during COVID, end of 2020, around Christmas time 2020, I had my first call with her, and started really in January 2021. And what she does is she doesn't believe in diets. And she's like the head of the gastric fat people of Miami. I don't know what the damn thing is called, but something. But she's like the top person of it. and
GFMM.
But she's skinny. She's a attractive, Venezuelan girl. But she's head of this whole thing, and her whole thing is intuitive eating, and it's the psychology of eating. It's not about, weight loss is about 80% what you put in your mouth and 20% everything else, and being conscious of what you eat. And so she's like, "Kevin, promise me you'll never go on another diet in your life." It's like, done, check mark. She's like, if you get bad, if you go off rails on something, like, you go out and you eat a gallon of ice cream one night because you're depressed or something, don't think, well, shoot, I just ruined everything I'm working at. Might as well eat another one the next day, and I'll start a diet on Monday. Everybody always starts a diet on Monday or the first of the month. On August 1st, I'm going to start. She said, that's absolutely the wrong way to do it. She's like, eat what you want. If you want a freaking pizza, eat the pizza, but it needs to be you want the pizza. It needs not be a 5 or 6 out of habit, but like a 9 or a 10, and go get the pizza. But be conscious of what you're eating. Maybe get a small instead of a large or whatever. And I had a habit, I had a bad habit, like every night to relax, I would watch TV just to, unwind my brain and everything, and spend an hour just watching mindless TV, America's Got Talent or some stupid reality show or just whatever, just to kind of just wind down. And I would eat a box of Milk Duds. One of those. I love Milk Duds because you could put 3 or 4 of them in your mouth, suck on them. You put 3 or 4 in your mouth, they kind of meld together because they're caramel, and so you're just sucking on it like you would a butterscotch or something. And then as it gets lower, you put a couple more in your mouth, and they meld together. So you can make a box last like an hour and a half. But that's 600 calories and a lot of sugar. I was in this habit of doing it every single night. She broke me of that. Now I have that maybe once a month. But she got me to thinking about things, and she finds substitutes. Oh, why do you like those Milk Duds? Is it the texture? Is it the caramel? Is it the way it tastes on your tongue? There's something about it. Why do you drink soda, so much soda? It's because you like that carbonation, but it's a specific carbonation. How about switching to this drink? Not a Perrier, not a this, but this specific one. And it works. And so you're tricking your mind psychologically to still, because you have those cravings and those desires or those habits, and as you're breaking those, you swap it. So she's told me, like, most dietitians would say, if you're drinking Coke Zero, you need to cut that out. You need to go to water, 128 gallons a day or ounces a day. I mean, not gallons, that's too much. That's a whale size.
Well, that's pretty much what some of these people say.
But 128 ounces a day, and cut those out immediately. She's like, no, if you're drinking 6 a day, just swap one of them out for a water, and and then have 5, and let's see where that goes. But over time, you start consciously eating things differently. You start looking at stuff. Am I eating because I'm hungry, or am I eating because it's a habit? And now I'm at the point now where I have a private chef that comes once a week and cooks for me. And he used to make my lunches and my dinners. Now I'm just telling him to make one meal a day because that's all I want. So, and I'm not eating half of it anyway. I eat, a little bit of breakfast, a protein shake, maybe a little cereal or a piece of bread or something. But if I want a candy, I buy it. If I want an ice cream, I get it. But I used to eat a lot of ice cream. Bluebell is my favorite. It's a Texas company, and you can get it across the South. It's not everywhere, but it's my favorite. So I would have those little pints, or I buy those little half-gallon things, or whatever they are. Last a couple of days. I've had one right now in my fridge for 2 months, and I haven't even opened it. It's a change in psychology. Or what I've done is, like, okay, if I want that taste, I want that ice cream taste. I love that taste. It gets the hormones in me. It gets the things, that satisfaction, those triggers that are in your body. I'll buy the little small size cups. They're like for birthday parties for kids. They're 160 calories, and I'll eat one of those. And she's like, "Do you go back for a second? Go back for a third?" I'm like, "No, I just eat one." So it's some of it's discipline, some of it's mind over matter, and just being conscious of everything that you eat. And that's the biggest thing. And the second is sleep is so important in health. And a lot of people, especially, I mean, you're a perfect example. You're working your ass off and sleeping wherever you could grab a nap here or there, or just a couple hours a night at one point. I know you're better about it now, but most people dismiss how important sleep is for your overall health. And what woke me up to it is a few years ago, I was going to get life insurance. And I didn't have life insurance before, but I got married. I was like, I better get some life insurance. And talking to the agent, they're like, okay, there's what's your sleep apnea score? And I'm like, I just did a test, and it was like 19. I had 19 mild things or whatever it was in a period of whatever the measuring period is. And I was, okay, that's mild. And what this insurance company told me is that you're at 19 times, maybe it's 19 times per hour. It's subconscious. You don't realize it, but if it messes with your body. And they said, if you get to 20, you're uninsurable on life insurance. I'm like, what? And so I went immediately. I had my wife used to say I would snore. I would snore sound like a Mack truck bullet coming down the street. So I went. There's a guy here in Austin that does a balloon sinuplasty. So they go into I had a 70% blockage. I didn't know it. You get used to it as you're living. You don't even realize it. But I had trouble in my nose. So, Manny just did it. I did it. Mark has done it. A bunch of people have done it. But he has this technology. He was like one of these Doogie Howser guys that became an MD when he was 14 or something. So he invented this technique. So it doesn't require the major surgery. And you still get knocked out for like 15 minutes, but he goes in and uses his balloon and blows it up and opens all that up. That made a huge difference on my snoring and my sleep. Plus, I started using a sleep mask, and I changed. Sometimes in your bed, if it's hot or cold, the temperature's not right, you're tossing and turning. You're not getting as much sleep, or you wake up and there's a little bit of sweat or whatever. But there's something called the 8 Sleep mattress. It's the number 8 Sleep. That's freaking amazing. It's a mattress topper, and it's about $2,000. It's not cheap, but you put it on top of your bed, and then you set settings. Are you a cold sleeper or a warm sleeper? And you can do splits. So if your wife and you are on one side, or your partner and you could be different. And then it measures you throughout the night. I mean, Ring and Fitbits and stuff do this, but it'll give you like your pulse rate and some measurements during the night. But this like measures your whole body and like how often did you wake up? What kind of quality of sleep did you get? What was your heart rate, your HRV through the night? All this stuff. And it adjusts after a week of testing. It figures out what temperature is optimal for you. And so it adjusts. You can manually override it, but it adjusts up and down, either cold or hot, the temperature of the mattress. And this thing is so thin. It's super thin. It goes on top of the bed. It has a little pump that you hide behind your bed with a little bit of water in it. And it's brilliant. I mean, I have a Sleep Number bed that has like $7,000 Sleep Number bed that has something similar built in. That sucks compared to this 8 Sleep. It's awesome. So things like that. Plus, you got to watch, as a man, you got to watch your testosterone. So as men, the number one thing is sleep apnea or sleep, testosterone level, and your diabetes level. Those 3 things play more in your health than anything else. If you get on top of those, your chances of having a long, fruitful life and being there for your kids and your wife and to enjoy your retirement are much, much higher.
Intriguing stuff. All right, so let's give somebody a quick tease. We're going to talk about your newsletter you just started, why you started it, and like some of the stuff. But like, what's one of the either one that's come out already or something that's coming? One of the strategies that you can share with our listeners who maybe haven't gotten a chance to read the newsletter. What's something you brought out in one of your newsletters that can right off the bat help sellers listening?
Yeah, I just started August 14th. It's twice a week. It's Mondays and Thursdays. When I say newsletter, a lot of people like roll their eyes. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I get a newsletter from Helium 10. I get a newsletter from this software. And every time I get my email, I get the company newsletter. Those are not newsletters. Those are promotional emails for the most part. Go read our blog. Go read this. A newsletter to me is more like what I'm doing is more like a magazine in a newsletter format. So it's action packed. Yes, there's a couple ads and stuff in there from people that are paying for those, but it's action packed, actionable stuff. It's totally free. So like we just did a big one that's really resonated. The one that came out on August 28th talked about the A9 algorithm. And so, Danny McMillan over at Seller Sessions did a big document on it. And we analyzed that. And like, while that's good, that's not really, there's more to it than that. So we took a look at Amazon Science, a big paper that came out, and a couple other things, analyzed that. And we talked about that. And I've gotten so many people saying this is like the most amazing. It was written in a way that we can understand it. Sometimes this stuff gets too technical. Plus some of the tips and tools that we put in there. We had a really cool resource for like getting, sometimes when you're trying to create your A+ content, your brand story, your brand pages, you're like, what should I do? What should I tell my designer or graphics person to do? And maybe you saw a couple here or there ideas, or you give them some basic idea, but there's guys there's a guy in George that's assembled a library of 25,000 A+ pages, and you can filter by it. I'm in the pet space. I'm in this space. And it's got it all keyworded so you can search and get like, wow, that's a cool one. That's a cool one. I want my designer to do something like that or combine these two together. So we share resources like that. I have something called the Dream 100. As you know, there's a lot of BS, not Bradley Sutton's, but BS in this industry that with fake gurus and stuff. So I have every Thursday I put someone in the Dream 100. I announce this is a legit person. You should follow them, trust what they say. So that'll get up to 100 people. It's only 3 right now, but that'll get up to 100 people over time. I add a little bit of humor to it. So there's like, I'll either call somebody out, that's basically a fake guru, or we'll put some crazy listing like, hey, can you believe that this product is selling, $100,000 a month on X-Ray on Amazon? You look at it like, holy cow, that's the craziest thing I ever saw. We do some of that. So it's a mix. And then I tell a personal story, and each one's called a 6-second story. So when someone opens the newsletter, you got to hook them right away.
Mhm.
And you got to get them reading and engaged. And so I personalize it, and then I tie it to whatever we're talking about that day. So I'll
Now, a
personalize.
recent one kind of caused a stir about some naked people on some balconies.
Yeah, but I do that I want to be, if I always say, if you're not pissing someone off, you're not doing a good job. If you try to please everybody, you please nobody. And so I'm feeding my audience. And so if that bothers you, and it's going to bother some people that might be religious or depending, that's okay. You can go find your information somewhere else. I'm fine with that. But the overwhelming response to that has been like, holy cow, this is the best thing ever. Don't stop. Can you do this every day? I can't believe one guy sent me a message today. He's like, this is so good. I can't even take it all in. I just got 3 of my team members start reading this, and we're dividing up sections of what to do. And so there's so much out there. We do the Helium 10 Elite every month, and we've been doing that since 2017 at Helium 10, which is advanced level stuff. And in that, I do 7 ninja hacks every month, and share those with the audience. And then once those have become a little bit older, sometimes I share those other places. But the Helium 10 Elite people always get them first. Right now, I write everything on the current newsletter, but it's going to get to the point I'll hire a staff. But I need to set the tone, figure out what works, what people like, what they don't like, and then I can feed everything I've written for. If I do this for 3 months, let's say, I can feed that all into an AI, and then say, have the AI write in the style of Kevin of these newsletters. It'll know the exact style, the exact everything. So these are not AI newsletters. We use AI as a tool, but AI is not writing these.
So if somebody wants to go ahead and sign up, it's free right now. How can they do that?
Well, it's always going to be free. It's billiondollarsellers.com with an S, billiondollarsellers.com with an S. It's growing pretty quickly. So I think, hopefully by this time next year, there'll be maybe 50 to 100,000 people getting that twice a week and actually reading it that want it. So my email list from all the stuff I do is big, not as big as Helium 10s or something, but so I could just blast this out to everybody, but I don't want to do that. I want people to actually want it. And I have people now already saying, I didn't get it. I didn't see it in my spam, or, what happened to it. And they're getting upset that they didn't get it. That's what I want, is it to become, habit forming and become something people look forward to when they see that Kevin King BDSN. They're like, oh, this is something I got to read. If I can't read it right now, I'm saving it until tonight or for the plane ride tomorrow or whatever. That's where I want it to be. So it doesn't have to be, it's not a blast to my whole email list. You got to double opt in. You can't just sign up and get it. You actually sign up, and you got to click something else to say you really want to sign up, and then you're in. And that's on purpose. And it keeps the open rates high, the engagement high. It's good for the advertisers that come into it, because I support it with a little bit of advertising. And it's just good for everybody. It's people that want it.
All right, so guys, make sure to sign up. It's one that, like, I personally don't even read, newsletters. This is like the first one I actually just sit there and read, and just like Kevin said, sometimes he starts with a funny story, but it works. It like hooks you. I'm like sitting there laughing, like, all right, I want to read more. I'm hooked in, and from start to finish. And it's long. It's like you're doing a lot of scrolling. Sometimes people say, oh, when you write an email, you don't want them to scroll. And like, no, I got no problem scrolling.
But it's written short. It's written in a format so that you can skim it. But you'll see that it's using every trick in the book. There's no paragraphs more than 2 or 3 sentences. There's no, it's not long. And I usually, when I write it, I have to go back and cut half of what I wrote out. And it's straight and to the point. And, we use a sense of humor. It's not just that opening story, but it's like, we did something about, in a recent one, said there's no such thing as the A10 algorithm. It's always the A9. There is no such thing. And the A9 evolves just like you did during puberty, but it's still named the A9. So we'll do stuff like that. That's not necessarily business-like or, corporate-like, but screw that, put a personality to it. And people love that. And then as they're reading, they have a little smile, like, I get it, or that's relatable. Doesn't sound like corporate speak or just boring stuff. That's all on purpose.
All right, now you reference Elite and how you save the best hacks for there. Do you have any, just for a sample, you can give some of the cool, 1 or 2 of the cool hacks that you've given out on your 7 Ninja hacks that you do monthly in the Elite group?
Yeah, sure. What's a good recent one? We do this every single month. We talk about some of its tools like Caspa AI, which is a really cool tool where you can take shoot your product on your iPhone, just, basic picture, upload it, and then put it into any scene you want. So you're like, hey, I want my water bottle to be on a being held by an Asian guy standing in the gym with some barbells behind him, and he's holding it facing the logo out. It'll make a cool picture instantly using AI with that, which you could use in your Amazon post, or you could use in your maybe in your listing. You could use a lot of places. So we'll do cool tools like that, or Melio payments that where you can use credit cards to actually finance your purchase orders and stuff. We do things like a recent one was about how to get that there's a newer version of this item available. We covered that. There's a newer version of this item available. Like people like see that. How do I get my, if you got a calendar or you just updated your product, how can you link that to the old inventory so that people see there's a newer version available? We showed people how to do that. We showed people how to do the back end stuff before anybody knew how to do the back end and get a complete dump of your competitors' listings, like all their attributes and everything before that was really public information.
Well, that was like a couple of years before it became mainstream. Yeah.
We stuff like how to use Hexa, Hexa. It's a beta program that most people don't know about to create 360-degree pictures for your Amazon listing. They'll do it for you for free. And I think that's really, 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 really cool. We've done stuff like how to make money fall from the sky on your landing pages. Someone hits one of your landing pages or one of your blog sites, and let's say they don't sign up, but you want to know who they are. There's tools out there that will actually use IP and geolocation to actually figure out in about 50 to 60% of the cases who these people are based on public data. In the United States, Europe, you might have a few more issues with privacy, but in the US, we don't care about privacy. So unless it's medical. And so we can figure out that I just went to Bradley's blog talking about the honeymoon, and he doesn't know I went there. He knows he got a hit or his metrics that there's a visitor, a session, but he doesn't know who they are. If he puts this little bit of code, then we can figure out that, oh, this was Kevin King because he was using this IP address to this computer, and it does reverse matching that knows that, oh, Kevin King went to this gaming site or went to somewhere else in the past 10 years from that same place. It must be Kevin King. Let's match it up again to this other database. Oh, his email address is blah, 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 blah. Puts that into a database. Then you can either email those people, which I don't always recommend. If you're going to do that, you should use something like zero bounce to make sure that emails are valid. Or you can put them into custom audiences if you're running Facebook ads or any kind of things like that. And you can retarget these people. If you ever wonder how sometimes you went to a site and you're all of a sudden, now I'm seeing this stuff all over my feed. Some of that's retargeting pixels, which is more private. But if you wonder how did they get me onto an email list, or how did they get me from this not a Meta property into an X or Twitter property, those two aren't the same company, not sharing the same pixel. How did they do that? And this is some of the ways they're doing it. We also talked about, Howard. You've had Howard on the Howard Ty on the podcast, and he's got a little group called Elites. I'll forget the name of Elite Seller Society or something like that. And he's had every Thursday he has someone come on and talk about stuff. And one of the things that just recently he had David, who's spoken at the $1 Billion Seller Summit. You remember David from the Ghost Story back in 2019. He came on and
you did some translating for him 1 year at the $1 Billion Seller Summit. Yep.
he came on and talked about how are things changing with the Chinese sellers? He's like, AI has leveled the playing field as far as creating listings and stuff now for everybody. And if someone's like, how are they ranking? How are they getting reviews? What are they doing? And he's like, the number one way that Chinese sellers are getting ranking right now, they're using postcards through the mail. And he's like, thanks to Kevin King. And I'm like, what? He's like, oh yeah, I did talk about that in 2019 when I did, me and Brandon Young went over there and spoke to a huge group in Shenzhen. Well, they took that, and now he said that's the number one way that they're getting ranking products and getting reviews. And so I was like, you know what? I think I actually did that in the U.S. too. I just didn't give that to the Chinese sellers. And so I look back and I shared that to the Helium 10 Elite first, way back in, I don't remember the exact time, in 2018, some point. I did a presentation on postcards, and it was cutting edge. Virtually nobody did it. Everybody, they looked at it like, yeah, Kevin, that's like, I never heard of. I don't even check my mailbox. I don't, I'm a millennial. Nah, who reads the mail? Like, dude, you're missing it. And so hardly anybody in the U.S. did it, but the Chinese like, oh, this looks good. They did it, and look what it's doing for them 4 years later. So that's the kind of stuff we do in Helium 10 Elite. If you freaking pay attention and implement not only what I'm teaching, but what I bring on really good guests. I look for a diversity from PPC people to shipping people to you name it. Sometimes you get a speaker that's okay, but we get some really good people. There's 3 speakers plus myself on every single one of the Helium 10 Elites. There's a lot of groups out there that have trainings, but I think this might be the the oldest one, period, that's continuous. There's others that have started and come and gone, but I think since we started February 2017, when it was called Illuminati, changed the name in 2019 to Helium 10 Elite, but it's been continuous, never missed a month since February 2017. So that's 6.5 years. I don't know if there's any other group that has lasted that long at this point.
And guys, I told people this before. This is one of the secrets, if not the main secret to my success, is before I ever sold on Amazon, before I even became a consultant, people thought I was crazy because it's mainly like 7, 8, 9-figure sellers going and paying $400 to get in this Illuminati mastermind. I could see the value in it. I saw a webinar or something first of you and Manny, way before I worked at Helium 10. More than a year probably before. And I actually joined Illuminati just as a regular person who wasn't even selling yet. And within like 3-4 months, I had enough knowledge just from the Illuminati stuff and, a couple other, courses I was taking, but mainly from the Illuminati, where I became like a pretty top level consultant and was, launched my Amazon consulting career, which was my career before Helium 10, without even selling on Amazon, just because I was able to ramp up my knowledge super fast by being part of that Illuminati mastermind. So,
and it's not just the monthly training. That's what we had, but more recently, Helium 10's added a weekly call with all the people that want to participate. So I do one a month. I jump on once a month, and then the other 3 weeks, Bradley and Carrie and Shivali host them. And we'll have anywhere from 20 to 40, 50 people in there that are members of Helium 10 Elite. There's a lot more members than that, but some people are busy. And for a couple hours, typically an hour to 2 hours, everybody's on there on a Zoom call, all on the screen. There's no agenda, no presentation. It's like, what do you got a problem with? Oh, Amazon's blocking me from shipping this in. Anybody else ever dealt with this? And usually there's someone else like, oh yeah, I've, maybe me or Bradley or somebody knows the answer. We can help them. But usually there's somebody else like, oh, have you ever tried this? Or this happened to me 2 years ago and I did this. And you have this interactive conversation that you're not going to get in a Facebook group. You're not going to get anywhere else other than maybe at an in-person event, which there's 4 of those a year too for Helium 10 Elite, that you get to come to for free, that are that value right there. Sometimes I learn stuff in there, I didn't know from somebody else. That right there, connecting with other high-level sellers and being able to share is as valuable as the presentations, if not even more valuable in some cases. And so there's things like that that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Just last week, I don't know if it was on your call or on one of the regular weekly one that you're not on there. It was before you. Either way, it was before you came on the call. There was Elizabeth, who's an elite member, and she was talking about how she's done like something like $2 million on TikTok Shop, some crazy number like that. And so she was just like, people were dazzled with what she was saying. Just randomly got on there. She was just one of the participants and was talking about that. Now we're actually going to do she's going to do a training in October in the Elite in-person workshop in New York, where she's going to show people, kind of like reverse engineer, how she was able to get to this level of success that she's had on TikTok Shop, which is definitely a hot topic. So
that's hot. And that's big right now. That's big. If you're not paying attention to that, that's big. I had Perry Belcher. This will be coming out on the AMPM podcast in October. So be sure. But Perry Belcher, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the top marketers in the space right now. He started Digital Marketer, the big expo with 7,000 people. Traffic and Conversion he was one of the founders of that. He started Digital Marketer. He's really big in the marketing space, an old school marketing guy. But one of the things he actually said on that podcast, among a bunch of other cool stuff, is that he's like, if you're going from Amazon to Shopify, it's a mistake. You should not be doing anything on Shopify. He said, we're finding far better success by setting up funnels with ClickFunnels or High Level or one of the other and doing single product drives. The conversions are way higher. The sales are way higher than driving someone to a Shopify site where there's too many confusing things that can distract them. And he's like, that's where these Amazon sellers, because I asked him for one of the mistakes people are making. He said, that's one of the mistakes a lot of these Amazon sellers are making right now, is they should be focused more on driving stuff to single products with upsells rather than driving to a Shopify store where here's all my 20 things my company sells.
But yeah. I mean, the TikTok shop, there's just whatever's cutting edge. We talk about it in Elite. So it's actually the longest in history. Kevin just said it started in 2017. So we're talking over 6 years, almost 7 years. It's been closed for the longest time in history. I think the last time it was open was in March of this year. I'm not sure by the time you guys are listening to this episode if it's open, but sometime in September, October, we're going to open it up for a couple weeks or so. So this is the time to sign up, guys. Write this down, h10.me/elite, h10.me/elite. And even if it's not open right now, there's a button on there where you can join the waiting list, so you can make sure that when it does open for the short window that it does, that you guys can get in. But the benefits are, this is like the only way to really talk to Kevin. People want to ask want to hire Kevin as a consultant all the time. Kevin doesn't have the bandwidth to do that, but once a month he'll go on there and just live, just in a regular Zoom call, you can ask him anything you want. You can ask other people anything you want in the Facebook group, or we have 2 weekly Zoom calls now, one at in the afternoon on Friday, US time, and then one that I actually hop on at midnight because it's 8 a.m. UK time every Friday. And we hit the Europe, all the European sellers and people in Asia, can hop on a call and network with each other. We have 4 quarterly workshops. The next one's coming up in October, the 4th one of the year. We had one in during Amazon Accelerate, September 11th, and now October, right during Unboxed. We're going to have one where we're going to be talking about, like I said, TikTok shop, and also we're going to have a PPC expert. And there's a whole bunch of other advantages of being on the Elite program. So if you guys are interested to add this to your Helium 10 account, again, go to h10.me/elite and either sign up right there if it's open, take advantage, or if it's closed, just join the waiting list so you can hook up with Kevin that way.
There's some software tools too that they get extra tools or extra capacity or something, right?
Yeah, Elite members usually get access to tools like way before. Like we just launched some historical Cerebro. Elite members have had that for like a year and a half, but now barely Diamond members are getting it like a year and a half later. There's some tools like our Elite Analytics tool that Kevin actually developed himself. He gave the kind of blueprint for it. That still only Elite members can access that. Diamond members don't have access to that. And that's been around for like 2 years. So lots of advantages, including networking and training that Elite has. Back in the day, like I said, when I was an Elite Illuminati member, it was only I think there was a Facebook group maybe at that time or something, but it was mainly just one of those training calls a month, and that was enough value for me. And now it's just like all the tons of other value. So guys, make sure to check it out. Another thing, I'm wearing my OG $1 billion Seller Summit shirt today from the very first one. From the very first one, and the next one, time and place in 2024 for the next $1 billion Seller Summit.
There's actually 2 coming. Well, the next $1 billion Seller Summit's May 18th to the 23rd in Kauai, Hawaii, which is going to be amazing. And then right after that one, from the 23rd to the 26th, I have a second event called Level Up, where the $1 billion Seller Summit is mostly for Amazon sellers and all the traditional things that you're used to, like you are, Bradley, from $1 billion Seller Summit. Then the Level Up, we're switching resorts, taking everybody that's staying, that chooses to stay, and they're going to the Waimea Canyon, which is the Grand Canyon of Hawaii. It's like a little Grand Canyon in Hawaii. Then we're taking them on the Nepali coast on a dinner cruise. The Nepali coast is where these beautiful mountains come right up to the edge of the water. It's just stunning. Dolphins jumping everywhere, and so that's going to be cool. And then we're switching to Hanalei Bay, to the One's $300 million resort that just had an overhaul, and it's like $1,500 a night to stay there. But we got a rate that's like way less than half of that for people coming to the event. And then we're doing it's called Level Up, so it's 6 speakers. Only one's Amazon. The other 5 are, like Perry Belcher just said, he's probably going to speak at it. Jason Flatlin is someone that's maybe speak at it. There's a couple other. Molly Mahoney is probably going to speak at it. And some other, and then we're mixing that in with some mind and body stuff like we talked about earlier, because that's important for entrepreneurs. So there's going to be cryotherapy. There's going to be a sound therapy lab where you listen to the bowls and it helps reset your mind. We're going to be doing hot yoga, a bonfire on the beach, and so it's going to be pretty cool. We're doing a race. We did that race here in Austin. You were in that scavenger hunt we did a couple years ago here in Austin. People love that. So One of the problems is when you go to an event, you don't get to see the place. You see the hotel and maybe you see a bar or something or a restaurant. So we've got 25 Avis rental cars, I think, or 30 Avis rental cars all lined up, and you're going to be broken into teams of 4, and you're going to do an amazing race across the island one day. So you're going to be able to see the entire islands and experience the island. Kauai is a place where you're not going to want to be sleep napping in the back. You're going to be like looking out the window after every turn, going, "Holy cow, this is beautiful! I've never seen something so beautiful in my life." It's a Jurassic Park island, and so you're going to be able to see some cool stuff in some back places that you wouldn't know. They're not on the tourist map. We're going to take you to this one cool beach as part of the race. You're like, "Holy cow, I'm coming back here because nobody's here. Nobody knows about this place. It's like a secret little beach." So that's going to be cool too. And if it's your third or more trip, you're going to get like a Jurassic Park experience and a helicopter ride over the island and stuff. So like Bradley, if you're out there, you get that for free since you're a regular, since you've been to 3. This is your third or more. You're going to take a helicopter around the island as a tour. It's amazing. Fly up to the inside this 10,000-foot waterfall in a helicopter and land, and this Jurassic Park kind of vehicle is going to pick you up and take you through this amazing like plantation kind of thing and to a VIP dinner that night. It's going to be really, really cool. So yeah, that's at $1,000,000sellersummit.com if you want information on that. Then in October, I'm doing the $1 billion exit summit. So the $1 billion exit summit, I'm doing this with Scott Dietz. So some of you may know he's got the exit ticket or whatever it's called in Helium 10. Probably the top guy in helping people exit. He helped Manny and Guillermo exit Helium 10. He was involved in that. Done over $500 million worth of exits for Amazon sellers. So, and you may be like, yeah, but right now I'm not thinking about exiting, but you might be in a year or 2 years, and now is the time to actually start working on it now to maximize and add a couple extra $1 million to your exit by working now, rather than waking up one day and saying, I want to exit, I want to be out of here in 3 months. You're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So we're doing it's very small, 25 to 30 people in Austin, October 10th to the 13th, called the $1 billion Exit Summit. And it's hands-on. So he's bringing his whole team. So it's a lot of one-on-one stuff. It's not a bunch of presentations from all these random people. You're going to walk out of there with a plan. Like, okay, this is what I need to do specific to your business. So that's happening in October.
Awesome. All right. So guys, $1,000,000sellersummit.com to get more information on it. All right. Like always, let's go ahead and close this out with your 30 or 60-second tip that you can leave for the sellers out there.
If you haven't checked out Levanta, that would be a really good tip. Levanta, I think .com, I think is the URL. But especially for the fourth quarter coming up, off Amazon traffic is huge for ranking. You get the 10% referral bonus if you're brand registered, and it just helps you in your rank. Even if they don't buy, if you're sending traffic from outside social media or outside media, blogs, whatever, even if they don't buy, it helps you on your rank. But these guys, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to go set all that stuff up. You got to find people on TikTok, or you got to find blogs, or you got to find these affiliates and like coordinate everything one-on-one, one by one. These guys have got over 1,000 of the top affiliates, from TikTok people to people who are in the affiliate business. That's what they do, to blogs like USA Today. USA Today will do a holiday gift guide for pet products this year. If you have a pet product, you want to be in that gift guide in USA Today with 2 million people reading it online. These guys can facilitate that. In the way it's seamless. The way it works is you just connect your Amazon account to their system, and it automatically imports all your products. Once your products are in there, you can go and cherry pick them. Like, I only want to promote these 3. I'm willing to give a 20% commission for this dog bowl, and then that goes into their database. These 1,000 affiliates, when they're writing their stories and looking for things, they can search that database. Oh, I want to promote this dog bowl. He's giving 20% off. They just automatically pick up the everything. It's all done for them. They put it into their blog or their post or whatever, and it's all automated. Or you can go in there. I think they let you do 50 a day. You can reach out to people, and they're growing really, really fast. And they just had people on Prime Day, the July Prime Day, do over $1 million just off of outside traffic off of this program on Prime Day. And just imagine what that does to your listing on Amazon and the internal Amazon stuff, how that's going to get that flywheel going. So that would probably be a tip. Of they're under the radar, and I'm mentioning this here. They don't give me a kickback or anything for this, but that's a tool that I think any serious Amazon seller is a fool to not use. I'm an absolute fool to not actually take a look at that, especially for this fourth quarter, and get a strong competitive edge over your competition.
Get more like that, guys, in Helium 10 Elite, h10.me/elite. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're traveling a lot more than you were in the previous years, so I'll probably hopefully see you at one of these upcoming events, and then for sure at the $1 Billion Seller Summit next year. So keep on. By the time I see you next time, I might not even recognize you. You're losing so much weight. Hopefully, you won't recognize me because I need to get on the path too.
Yeah, it's slow, but if we go a long enough period of time, I've lost a bunch. I'm not trying to do it quickly.
All right, we'll see you next time.